A video of something that I want to have play around with. So I want to do like a gnocchi Swiss roll, but savoury, if that kind of makes sense. So think like a jam roly-poly, but we're going to use, instead of a suet based pastry, we're going to use a gnocchi mixture instead, and instead of jam we're going to use some beef ragu type of thing. So, and then we'll kind of roll it up in some baking parchment, and we'll bake it in the oven, and then wrap it in some foil, and we'll bake it in the oven, and we're going to see how it turns out. So kind of savoury jam roly-poly, but with beef ragu, but made with polenta stroke gnocchi. But also we'll do another one, or if the polenta doesn't work out, I'm just cooking some potatoes on the back, so we'll make a potato gnocchi as well, and see if we can make like a pliable dough with it type of thing. So a mug full of semolina, and I've put some of the water in. Oh no, we've covered it up already. A mug's worth of water. Some of it's gone in there and some of it's boiling in here. It just makes it so the polenta doesn't, so gnocchi doesn't go lumpy if we add some of the water to the semolina. So, but I don't want, I want it kind of quite thick. I would normally, for a wet polenta, would use double the quantity of water to polenta. Is it on? Yes, the gas is on, that's fine. So by just using less, and then we're going to see how thick that turns out once it's cooked. I haven't put any seasoning in yet. I suppose I should have put in a. No, we'll just leave as is. I'm going to put an egg in it as well, so that'll hopefully bind it all together, and that'll be some more of the liquid as well. These are my thoughts anyway. I know I'm not going to add this egg just yet because it'll be hot. So, but we can just whisk it up and see what happens. So, just be a case of judging how much liquid needs to be in that and how does it taste. Certainly need some more liquid in it. Let's put in a little bit more. Don't want it too thick, don't want it too thin. I want it kind of to hold it, be able to hold its shape. Making a mess of this. That's because I've got other things on my mind. You know, that tastes vile without any seasoning in it. Without any chicken stock or anything. Oh, hang on, phone call. So, I've seasoned that a little bit. I've put a little bit more salt in. That's about 1.5 cups of water. Let's put in that 1 medium egg and see what happens. I was looking at one of my old recipes from a restaurant, and it was a polenta dumpling. But the amount of, they put a lot of cheese in, and they put a lot of eggs in. Oh, that's not so bad, is it? That's not so bad. I don't know if we're going to put, I'm going to put some cheese in. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to stop this from sticking to the. Let's put some more polenta in. Well, yeah, it's polenta. I just want to firm it up. I probably should have left it at just a equal quantities of polenta to water and then an egg, I think, but it just seemed rather stiff. Let's put a bit more in. If we put in, I reckon that's about half a mug. It's going to cook in the oven, so I'm not that bothered that I'm not heating it now to cook it. That seems quite stiff. It'll stiffen up when it cools, so it probably needs to cool down. And I remember the recipe was I used to wrap them in cling film, which is not what I want to do at all, and then poach them, which is not what I want to do. But I don't know if that's going to work. But we'll see. So we'll let that cool down, and then we'll see what happens to it. So, baking parchment. I've just oiled it because I don't want this to stick when we roll it up. That mess of my pan, but not to worry. Everything comes out in the wash, doesn't it? So, move this around and get it into like a rectangle shape. Now see, it's not sticking. Probably should have set it in the fridge and rolled it out between two sheets. If I could do that. Now let's just get it into a rough position. Let's not turn it into something that is more difficult than it needs to be. So we don't want to go too close to the edges. We want roughly the same amount of thickness all over, enough to roll it up a few times. So this will be the same kind of thing that I do with the potato version. Right, so get that off my fingers. Like that. Now, won't wash up that just yet. Now, clean my hands. Just a bit sticky. And then let's have a look at this ragu. If I can get the lid off, I'll pause. Yeah, as soon as I pause, I'll pop the lid off, of course. So, this is ragu that's made from the trimmings from roast beef. So, when I'm at work and the joints of beef have been roasted, there's all the bits on the end and the bits that you can't carve properly, and all the what you would call the dog ends. So that I then take them and cook them down with the bits of fat and the bits of gristle in some tomatoes and make like a roast beef ragu, which is rather quite delicious. A nice thing to have in the cupboard and makes use of leftovers. Just need to move that away from the end. Magic. It's going to be sealed, so it'll be fine. So let's do that like that. That should be fine in there. I've got some. This video's going to be longer than I want it to be, but most of my videos are. Right, so then, now you'll see what I'm kind of wanting to get at with rolling it up. So it's going to be stuffed, yet have a Swiss roll type of look to it. I think that's going to work. And because we left it a little bit longer, hopefully it will have sealed. See, look, hands already. Right, and then I don't want to squish out too much. So You know, I think I'll just. Oh, that's kept its shape, hasn't it? Let's get some foil out. And then hopefully when we twist the ends of the foil, it should keep it together, but I don't want it to be too tight, so I don't want it to explode. So, like you would do with a jam roly-poly, so it's kind of quite loose, so it should hold it together, and then twisty, so it should expand as it cooks. So it needs a little bit of space for it to puff up, because it's got that egg in as well. Probably would have been nice with a bit of cheese, but that'll be fine. Right, so when the potatoes are cooked, I'll do the same, but they're not just kind of quite there yet. So we'll do the same with that. So we'll be back at the stage where I have. So we'll take the potatoes, slice them open them out, and then we'll get as much steam will come out with them as possible. We'll throw away the skins, and then we'll mash up those potatoes with some egg and maybe a bit of cheese this time, and then kind of do that kind of same thing. So we're back at the stage where where the potatoes have dried out significantly and cooled down, and then we'll be at the stage of mashing it all together with the egg and some cheese. I think, yes. As if by magic, these potatoes are ready, so we might as well get ready in the split open a bit. So we've cooked them whole with the skins on, because we want as little moisture to go into the potatoes as possible. If we were to peel them and cut them up, the potatoes would absorb, as they cooked, some of the water from the cooking process. So we could have baked them in the oven, but then the potatoes would have taken on a baked potato kind of flavour, which is not what I wanted. And they take ages in the oven, whereas they take a lot less time in a pan of water. So as you can see, steam is coming off them. Now if we cut them open like that and do that, you'll see even more steam coming out. So the more steam that we can, the more liquid that we can remove at this stage, the drier the gnocchi will be. And also, because there's less liquid in it, it means you can put all kinds of other liquids in there, such as cheese, egg, those type of things. So I didn't season the potato water. Oh, that's hot. I'll just risk it with my hands. So, but break them open and get as much surface area for as much steam to come out as possible. It seems a bit of a faff. It seems much easier to use polenta to make gnocchi, but we haven't always got polenta. So I think it's wise to see if we can do it with both. Now the only problem is when we're making gnocchis and things like that, if we add salt to it, so gnocchis, and I found this to be true with hash browns. So hash browns are potatoes which you form and then fry and have as a breakfast type of thing. If we add the salt beforehand with things like gnocchi and hash browns, the salt wants to draw out moisture so they become sticky. So we've got to be very careful about when we add the salt to these things. So that adding the salt will be last minute. This is not something that we could put together beforehand, season it, and then kind of leave it in the fridge for a while. It's kind of something that we need to do there and then. So as those cool, lots of steam will come out of them, and then we can be at that stage of making some potato gnocchi. Cooled. Close the fridge. Potatoes have cooled. There is 500 grams worth of potatoes in there, so that's probably about 3 medium to large sized potatoes, not extra large, about the size of a baking potato, I'd say. So 3 of those in weight, and there is more. So, but I really couldn't be bothered scraping all through that. I want to keep the recipe kind of quite simple. I put in an egg. I was thinking whether I should put in an egg or not. Gnocchi purists only put a little bit of flour in. They don't put an egg in until they're using quite large quantities of potato, if I remember correctly. So, but I put an egg in because I kind of certainly want it to bind together, and I put in 50 grams. Well, it should be 150 grams worth of flour. I looked at a recipe. 150 grams worth of flour, 500 grams worth of potato. I think that's too much, so I'll put in 50 grams. I put in one egg. It should have been an egg and a half. I think that's a little bit too much. And then I put in 50 grams worth of hard Italian cheese. Just the cheap stuff. Let's mash this together and see what happens. We can always change a few things. I probably should have grated the cheese a little bit finer, but we live and learn, don't we? And a little bit of a rush. I put the... Maybe I should have mashed the potato before I started. It'll be fine. I put the other one in the oven at 180, something like that. So I will have, I've seasoned this as well with just a little bit of salt. So it looks like it's coming together-ish. I don't think it'll need another egg. But instead of watching me struggling, I'll just pause until we get this into a bit of a better workable dough. Right, so that seems like it's okay, like it's going to hold together. So, you can see there. Like I don't want it any tougher than that. I've just pushed it out into the shape that I want, like that. So I've just oiled the baking parchment like we did with the other one. I don't think it necessarily will need it, but it might just help it crisp up on the outside. And then same again, so ragu. I'm sure this ragu is seasoned. I'm sure. Better taste it, eh? Probably even cold. I might just put a bit of cheese on. We've got cheese out and we've made a mess of the grater, so we might as well just put a little bit of cheese on it as well. So, extra cheese on the centre. Just to use the hard Italian stuff. Just the cheap one. I don't know why it's called hard Italian. I don't know what the specific, if it's made with cow's milk or it's just a cheap cheese that they buy from anywhere and everywhere. I just know that if it says it's hard and it's Italian, they can't lie about things like that in the UK. Well, they can bend the truth, but they can't blatantly lie. So start from this end like that, and then roll up. So it's holding together like that. And oh yeah, so I was thinking about the egg and putting it in, and I kind of thought the egg will probably lighten it up a little bit, and maybe like to, with the steam from the potatoes, want to kind of rise it a little bit, so like puff it up. So right, and then we can roll up like this. This feels heavier. Feels a lot heavier. And roll a little bit. I think I could do them with a bigger bit of baking parchment, but it doesn't really matter. So, which way is longer? It's that square, isn't it? Doesn't matter. So then roll up in some oil, and then twist the ends just like we did the other, like a rough roll, because I'm expecting it to expand. So but the end's tight, so it doesn't explode out the end of the foil, but that's still got a little bit of give in it. So there's, if it's going to expand, it can expand. Now in the oven, 180 for 40 minutes. The other one's already had 30 minutes, so I'll just put it on the side of on the same side of the tray. Well, on the same tray on a different side. There we go. We're back in about half an hour or so. So the polenta ones had more like 50 minutes now, but I think it'll be ready. It's puffed up and gone harder, and the potato one feels like it's almost getting there as well. But we'll give that another 5 minutes or so. So, oh, there's some juice coming out of it. Don't know what that particularly tastes of. No, we'll just do it on the board. Let's just cut off an end. Let's put it on a plate in case it's going to spill out everywhere. I get fed up of washing up. Trouble cutting through the paper. Oh, that's a bit soft. That's a bit soft. But it's cooked. That's not very nice. That polenta's not very nice at all. Not very nice at all. We're going to mess that up, aren't we? Should have got some scissors. Right, so gingerly unwrap this and see what it's like. It certainly worked. It certainly worked. Let's get those in a bin. But the polenta just wasn't nice to eat. Don't know why. But it's worked, hasn't it? You can see that it's worked. I just needed to work on a better tasting polenta. Right. Let's get another plate and cut into it and have a look. Oh, it's just split there. What a shame. What a shame. Ah, do you know? Might have needed a little bit longer in the oven. Ah. Well, it's worked. It's worked. We haven't got that nice spiral because it's just wanted to collapse like that, but it's worked. Let's give it a taste. Actually, it's not so bad. It's not so bad on the inside. Be nicer with a ragu. The polenta needs working on, but it's nice and it works. It certainly works. It would probably do with 2 eggs in it rather than 1. It'll probably hold it together a bit better. But we can work on that in the future. We can do it again. We've got some ragu left, so we can have another go at that one and see if we can do a better version. But it works. It works. It hasn't got the. Maybe we'll roll it out more and roll it out and roll it up more. But anyway, I'll have a look at the other one when that's ready. Because I'm running out of storage space and battery, so we need to be quick. Will this have worked? I hope so. I hope so. Where's the end? There's the end. Smells potatoey. Of course it smells potatoey. A bit soft, isn't it? It's a bit soft. It's a bit soft. Mind you, a bit of jam roly-poly is soft, isn't it? Oh, it's split as well. Not to worry. Not to worry. Now let's see if we can get a. Might have needed a bit longer. Might have needed a bit longer. But it's only the first go. Oh, that's better. That's got more of a, kind of still got a bit of a spiral to it. But that works. So I need to work on the polenta recipe. How does this one taste? Unfortunately it's split. But I didn't want to put any more flour in or egg. So that might just have to be how it is. Quite nice with that. I mean, it's not mind-blowingly amazing, but for a cheap meal, that's not bad, is that? And then I'll have to have another go at some point in the future and get like a better version. But if we can get the polenta and the gnocchi and the potato gnocchi right, then you could fill it with anything you kind of wanted. Vegetables the lot. So some cooked down vegetables, like some caramelised onions, something along those lines. I put ragu in, but like leftover lamb, chopped up, anything like that, and then it would bulk out some leftovers. But that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. So kind of a success, and maybe one or two things to work on. But you know, I quite like it when things almost go right, and there's a little bit of work involved, which means I can have a think and a play around. I like it when things work properly the first time, but I quite like the challenge of things going a little bit wrong. So anyway, kind of a success, a little bit of a failure, but something to work on, and delicious. So therefore, a success. Well, not delicious, but nice enough. Another fact with this cornmeal. So equal quantities in here of cornmeal and water. We mix it round while it's cold. It will mix in a lot easier. So rather than faffing around with hot water. So cook it on top of the stove just to get it to come together. We're back when it's heated up, because we don't need to see something boiling, coming up to a boil, do we? No. Right, so that has now cooked and come together. I put in a stock cube for seasoning. Just no salt, no pepper, just a chicken stock cube, which we'll use for the seasoning part of it, which always makes the polenta taste nicer if you use a chicken stock cube. See, that tastes nicer than it did. While that's hot, let's melt a bit of cheese in that. Cheese. Oh, let's pause. I don't want to make this video too long. Right, so approximately 50 grams of cheese, and hopefully there'll be enough heat still left in the cornmeal polenta just to melt that cheese. And then we'll let it cool, and then we'll beat in an egg and kind of see if that's the right consistency. That's all right, isn't it? That's all right. I think the egg's going to be a good idea because it's going to bind it. So we'll stick with that. But I think adding the cheese and a little less water will probably be the way to go. Let's give this a taste now and see what it tastes like. That's much nicer. How hot is it? Still too hot for an egg. So we'll just spread it out like that in the bottom of the pan. We'll let it cool, and then we'll beat in a beaten egg when it's a bit cooler. Otherwise, it'll just scramble the egg, and we'll cook the egg. That's not what we want. Eggs cook at quite a low temperature, so that's still too hot to add the egg. It's cool enough. Let's add an egg. I'm not going to beat it separately. I've just moved a little bit of the polenta to one side, and then we'll just mix that in there like that, and then hopefully it'll save us a bit of washing up, because I am fed up of washing up. Although I was talking with a friend and this just said get a dishwasher, but my only problem with that is that I would then hate filling and emptying the dishwasher. So I generally think in life it's picky poison, and everything that I wanted would always be in the dishwasher, wanting to be washed, and when I needed it I'd end up having to wash it by hand anyway. So that's alright. Right, let's get it's a bit stickier than I would have liked, but I don't think we can get away with less liquid in it and get an egg in there. I can't think of a way, although I might do. So we'll get a bit of foil and kitchen paper, and we'll oil it, and then we're back at the stage of putting it all together. Right, so spread out roughly. Because it's soft, it's not so easy to spread it out, but A little bit of patience. I'm not going to put any cheese in the centre of it, even though it was particularly very nice with the potato gnocchi. I want to say gnocchi. It was nice with that cheese, bit of extra cheese going through it. I have got a cheap mozzarella in the fridge. Let's put that in. Let's put that in and see what happens. So we'll get that out. There's a little bit of ragu left, but I don't want to use a polar. Well, I don't want to use a polar right there. Oh, you know, that's not what I want to say. I don't want to overfill it. That's what I'm trying to say. Right. So it's just a cheap mozzarella. I'll just put some bits in here like this. Oh, I did try and make a polenta pizza. And it failed because the polenta wouldn't set. I wonder if we could use this recipe for the polenta to make a polenta pizza. Don't know why I'm talking so quietly. It's like whispering Bob from the old Great Whistle Test. I forgot his name. Didn't use all that cheese. Right, so roll up like that delicately. See, because we've oiled it, it's coming away from the baking parchment, and that's the only reason I've oiled it, so it'll come away from the baking parchment. I know baking parchment's non-stick, but I just don't think, I think the polenta would stick to it. And then gently roll it up like that. And then we can twist it and it'll form a better sausage. That sausage shape is not a sausage sauce. And then on here like that. And same as before, roll up gently, not too tight because it will expand. And then twist the ends to keep it in shape. And then that's going to go in the oven for 180 for 50 minutes. And we'll see how it turns out. Over 50 minutes because I got sidetracked with talking to someone on the telephone. So we'll just let that cool down slightly and it might just set up a little bit better. And then we'll cut into it. It's a bit of stuff's come out of it underneath, but it was an old bit of foil that I used yesterday. So that's what the majority of the stains are. It's just the food from yesterday that's kind of cooked onto it. So we'll let it cool for a bit and then we'll cut into it and we'll see. Whip the ends off. Let's just put the foil. I need a plate. That's firm. It's firm. But that's because it's slightly cool. So there's the bit in the bin in a second. Quite a lot of moisture's come out of it. Feels alright. That feels alright. Right. Let's have a look inside. That's okay. So that's kind of what I wanted it to turn out like. Could have done to be a little bit thinner with the polenta, but let's have a taste. Let's have a taste. Nice amount of filling. And the cheese is still there, hasn't melted into nothingness. We can just see the cheese there. Why is my camera just looking a little bit dark? Don't know. But the cheese is there. That's nicer, that. But it's much nicer. With a chicken stock cube and that 50 grams worth of cheese. So that works. The first version of the blender didn't. I still think the potato one's slightly nicer, but thoroughly acceptable, you know, and something different to kind of do. I was thinking about it actually, and I've probably seen this idea somewhere else. And I think, isn't there a Mexican dish where you make some kind of paste and a filling and then wrap it in a corn husk and then steam it? I can't remember what they're called, but I think I probably nicked the idea from that. But anyway, so stuffed gnocchi, it works. Nice. More of an idea than anything else, but certainly than that you could stuff with anything. Long video, I know, but I've given you 2 recipes for the price of 1. Well, 2 variations for the price of 1, and I've shown that we can stuff it with hard cheese and a softer cheese, and if we can stuff it with a ragu, we could stuff it with vegetables or anything like that. So kind of think of it as like a steamed, like a savoury steamed roly-poly type of thing. But it works, it's nice. I'll stop waffling and go and do something else. But anyway,